How's it going, guys? We were talking some Penn State football. James Franklin and Penn State. There's a huge, big question hanging over their heads, I think. Is it, will we ever be able to win a national championship? And that is a very important question because, in my opinion, that should be the goal. If you ask a lot of people about Penn State, even Penn State fans, they will say their goals should be kind of what they've been the last 5 years. Stay at that 11-2 level because you're not going to be able to get with Alabama, Ohio State, or Clemson. Some of these elite programs. That's what I've heard, anyways. And I've heard that, but I don't see why we couldn't. If Clemson can become one of those elite programs, then we certainly can, because Clemson, before this dynasty they've had since 2015, they've been probably barely in the top 25 in terms of historic programs. Now they're in the top three nationally, I would say, consistently, year in and year out. And I, I think Penn State, their goal is to be among those teams and to win a national championship. I know it's going to be hard. I know we might not have certain resources like an Alabama or Ohio State has, but we still are a top 10, 15 program, I think, when it comes to resources and prestige. And we should be able to get ourselves up into that category if we have the right man in charge. And the big question is James Franklin the right man? I don't know. I think he'll be able to do a lot better in this past season and future seasons, but will he be the guy to win a national championship? I think for a coach to win a national championship, there are three main things. You have recruiting, development of players, and then in-game coaching. Okay, and I'd say Franklin has the recruiting part down for the most part. I would still like him to have better classes, but I think we have enough talent necessary to win national championship. I also think he develops players relatively well too. He always seems to get a bunch of guys who are just athletically good for the NFL, and I think that's a huge testament to strength coach Dwight Galt as well. But then there comes the in-game coaching decisions, and this is where I think Penn State's been screwed over the last few years. And I feel like if they made different decisions in certain games, they would be in a better state as a program than they were, or than they are now. Starting back to 2016 season when we had USC on the ropes easily. We were up by 2 scores and we let them come back and beat us. Now, that was in the Rose Bowl, the last game of the season. Obviously, it was a disappointing loss, but we knew we had a lot coming back the next year, and it wasn't like a national championship game or anything, so it wasn't like we were too upset about it. But then the following year, we were up by 18 points against Ohio State. We were up 21-3, and then late in the game, I think it was the fourth quarter, we were up 35-20. And they couldn't close that game out. If they win that game, I think that they get to the playoff, because even if they lose to Michigan State the next week, if they just win out and go 11-1, they win the Big Ten East. I think they beat Wisconsin, and they'd be 12-1 going to the playoff, in my opinion. And then the very next year in 2018. Oh, by the way, getting to the playoff that year would have done a whole lot for recruiting, and it would have done a whole lot for the program and just in general in terms of prestige and respect. But anyways, so the next year we're up by 12 against Ohio State with 8 minutes left, and they come back and beat us. It's another one. If we just win that game, even if we lose the other 3 games we lost that year, we still go 10-3. It's better than 9-4, and we have 3 straight wins over Ohio State, 2016 through 18. And our program is looked at differently than it is today. And recruiting has helped out a lot more. Like, we probably have better talent even than what we do now. And I think that you really need to question when it comes to these big games and big moments, even if we have a good lead, not even just if we're in a really close game, but even if we're up by a good bit, will Franklin be able to get it done against quality teams? And by quality, I mean like some of the top teams are competing for national championships to be able to win one. And so far, I say no. I think he's a good head coach. I don't think he's a great head coach. I don't, and the goal should be to win a national championship. I don't think he's the guy to do that. I hope he proves me wrong. So no disrespect to Franklin, because I think he's done a lot of good things as a head coach in his career with Vanderbilt, and then here at Penn State, turning us around and making us a competitive team again nationally. But when if the ultimate goal is to win an natty, I don't think he's a guy. All right, thank you guys. We are Penn State.